Hey there, Blasternaut Cadets! I'm Stella Nova, your friendly Blasternaut Cadet friend, and today we're blasting off into the world of decimals. Buckle up, because this math mission is out of this world.
By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain the significance of each place value position in a decimal, describe why certain decimals are equivalent even though they may look different, use place value to compare and order a set of decimal numbers, explain the relationship between decimals and fractions.
Welcome to the Blasternaut Academy, where we blast off to knowledge and mastery.
With a dot called a decimal point, you can tell the difference between the whole number and the part that is less than 1. Numbers with a decimal point are called decimals. A decimal number has at least one digit to the right of the decimal point. There are 3 parts to a whole number written as a decimal. When it comes to place value, decimals work similarly to whole numbers. Every place you look at is 10 times the value of the place to its right. One way to understand decimals and their place value is to think of money. $1 is a whole number. A dime is 1/10 of a dollar, and a penny is 1/10 of a dime, or 1/100 of a dollar. You can also use models to show ones, tenths, and hundredths. To write the number, you will write 1.11 and you will say 1 and 1100.
Wow!
Use a place value chart to help you understand the value of each digit in a number. Example, what is the value of each digit in 3 and 56 hundredths? The digit 3 has a value of 3 ones. The digit 5 has a value of 5 tenths, and the digit 6 has a value of 6 hundredths. Let's do a problem as an example. Corinne was planning a trip to Toronto, Canada. After doing some research, she found that the trip was 578.49 miles long. How should she read the number of miles? First, draw a place value chart and write the number in it. Second, read the number to the left of the decimal point as a whole number. Third, say the word "and" for the decimal point. Now, read the number to the right of the decimal point as a whole number. Finally, say the place value of the last digit, which would be hundredths. Corinne should read the number of miles as 578 and 49 hundredths. There are many cool ways to represent decimals, like using base 10 blocks, money, and number lines. Let's see how these models work. First up, we have base 10 blocks. Imagine we have a block that represents one whole. If we divide it into 10 equal parts, each part is 1/10, or 0 and 1/10. Now, if we take 3 of those parts, we get 3/10, or 0 and 3/10. But wait, what if we divide it even more? If we split each of those tenths into 10 smaller parts, we get hundredths.
Wow!
So, 0 and 30 hundredths is actually 30 hundredths. And guess what? 0 and 3/10 and 0 and 30 hundredths are equivalent decimals because they represent the same amount. Now, let's use a number line to see how decimals can look the same even though they might appear different. Imagine we have a number line from 0 to 1. We can mark 0 and 3/10 on the line. If we write a 0 after the 3, we get 0 and 30 hundredths. The position on the number line doesn't change because 0 and 3/10 and 0 and 30 hundredths are the same value. Here's a neat trick. You can write a 0 after the digit or digits that come after the decimal point in the tenths place to find the equivalent decimal. But be careful! This trick only works for decimals. Don't add a 0 to the whole number part. So, we've learned that 0 and 3/10 and 0 and 30 hundredths are equivalent. But what about 0 and 3/10 and 0 and 3 hundredths? Are they equivalent? Let's think about it. 0 and 3/10 is 3/10, while 0 and 3 hundredths is 3 hundredths. They are not the same. Now that we know how to represent decimals and understand equivalent decimals, let's learn how to compare and order them. Comparing decimals is like comparing whole numbers, but we focus on the value of each digit after the decimal point. Let's take a look at two decimals, 0 and 4/10 and 0 and 5/10. First, we compare the tenths place. In 0 and 4/10, the tenths digit is 4, and in 0 and 5/10, the tenths digit is 5. Since 5 is greater than 4, 0 and 5/10 is greater than 0 and 4/10. In 0 and 37 hundredths, the hundredths digit is 7. And in 0 and 35 hundredths, the hundredths digit is 5. Since 7 is greater than 5, 0 and 37 hundredths is greater than 0 and 35 hundredths. Now, let's practice ordering decimals from smallest to largest. We'll use these three decimals, 0 and 3/10, 0 and 27 hundredths, and 0 and 35 hundredths. Step 1. Compare the tenths place. The decimals have the following tenths digits: 0 and 3/10, 0 and 27 hundredths, and 0 and 35 hundredths. Step 2. Since 2 is the smallest, 0 and 27 hundredths is the smallest decimal. Step 3. Next, compare the two remaining decimals, 0 and 3/10 and 0 and 35 hundredths. Both have 3 in the tenths place, so we move to the hundredths place. Step 4. In 0 and 3/10, the hundredths digit is 0, and in 0 and 35 hundredths, the hundredths digit is 5. 5 is greater than 0 and 35 hundredths is greater than 0 and 3/10. Decimals can also be written as fractions. First, look at this decimal. This decimal represents 5/10. We can also write it as a fraction like this. Now, you might be wondering why the bottom number, or the denominator, is 10. That's because the decimal is in the 10th place. Decimals can have different denominators based on their place value. Let's try another example. This decimal can be written as a fraction too. It's 25 hundredths because the decimal is in the hundredth place. Isn't it cool how decimals and fractions are just different ways to show the same value? Remember, decimals can be written as fractions with denominators that are multiples of 10, like tenths, hundredths, and so on. We've learned so much about decimals today, from representing them with visual models to comparing and ordering them. Keep practicing and you'll become a decimal expert in no time. Thanks for learning with me today, friends. See you next time.
Before you go, I want to share something really cool with you. If you're looking for more awesome educational games and resources that are subscription-free, be sure to check out ShuttleUpAndTeach.com. It's packed with fun and engaging materials to help you keep learning and having fun at the same time. Thanks again, and happy learning! See you next time!
Hey everyone, I'm Aidan Comet. Make sure to stay tuned for the next video where we'll dive into next level addition fun. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome to
See you
the
soon.
Astronaut Academy, where we blast off to knowledge and mastery. We're the blastronauts reaching for the sky, learning math and science, we'll always try. With equations and experiments, we'll shine.